Tonight, the final round of our challenge to minor sports. There'll be a special number to call to find out how to take up the sport that interests you, and the sport whose video creates most interest in the series will get its own one-hour programme on Channel 4.
Thames ready, Lee ready, are you ready? Go!
Roar! Roar! Roar!
I started rowing about 4 or 5 years ago when I came to college in London. I went to a party one night, as students are wont to do in their first year, and I think it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and somebody said, "You'd make a good rower." I said, "No, rowing? I don't know what it is." And they dragged me down there at a few hours later, about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and put me out in a men's 8, right in the bow seat, and I nearly fell in, and I loved it. That was it. It only took one outing. I just had to go back, and even now, I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go rowing before work. I bunk off work early. Sometimes I've been up all night because that's my job. I'm a doctor. I just can't wait to get down there to the river, go out rowing again.
I think it's a really good all-round sport because to be a good rower you need to be very fit in every respect. You need to do all sorts of other training to get fit, the running, the weights and all the rest of it. It really builds people into teams and it gives them a sense of something they belong to. It's great because it's out of doors. It's really lovely on a day like this to go out and rush up and down on the river.
It's just being part of something, part of a unit that goes along really fast. I mean, when you get out in front, you're part of that mechanism. And it's part of the club as well, when you go to regattas and everybody's there and you're cheering for everybody in your club that's going fast.
I wanted to get fit, I wanted to be part of a team, and I live near the river, and the three seem to go together.
Well, the most amazing thing is there's bubbles around the boat. The boat's just running through the water and there's just bubbles everywhere, and the sound is really good. You just get one sound at the catch when you pick up the water, and then just sort of float through, and then one sound at the end as well. And in between you get all the bubbles of where the water's running, and it's just so amazing. It's really hard to describe.
It feels like the boat is singing along the water. The boat is lifted up and is sort of planing through the water. It's not an effort. You're tapping it along, and you get the sort of the sound of the blades, the beginning and the finish, and the bubbles, as you've heard. But it just feels a smooth movement, and you feel like in harmony. The fact that all of you, perhaps 8 of you, have got doing the same thing at the same time, that's quite an achievement, really.
It's the feeling of power, that you can propel the blade through the water. You can hang all your weight on the end of the blade and really pull. Women are brought up to expect that they're not strong, that they can't lift weights, that they can't do things that men do, but they can, and they're just as good.
It's a very exhilarating sport. I just like being on the water. I like any sort of water sports, but just the feeling of power and speed, and when it goes perfectly, or as near perfectly as you're going to get, it's just an amazing sensation. It's a bit like sort of skiing very fast. Your body's totally in control and the boat's level, and the water's sort of bubbling away, and it's just an amazing feeling.
I just like water. I like the way it moves. I like the way the sun shines on it. I like the way you can be on it and you get a mist hanging off it. I like the way you've got ducks and swans out there. I just love water. I like the way, the very first time I rode on the Thames, this is coming down from the Cam, which has a stream, but it's quite a flat river. And the first time I rode on the Thames, it felt like you were sort of rowing on something that was alive, because it was moving underneath you, and that's really nice. So I like that.
I'm very competitive. I really like winning more than anything else. So I suppose that's part of the kick I get out of it. But it's also, it's for a cox, I suppose it's much more of an intellectual pleasure, because it's like trying to build a team up, trying to motivate them, trying to get the best out of them, which is quite exciting.
Because I like to win. I put up with any amount of pain to win. Because you train so that it's not as painful. You push yourself in training so that you are capable of winning. It's painful when it's cold and your hands freeze up and your hair freezes up and your ears feel like they're going to drop off. But you know you've got to do that long distance work in order to go out in the summer and race to win. I mean, you wouldn't train and you wouldn't row if you didn't want to win.
Starts are really exciting because you go off and you're banging away and you're just pulling away, and if you get up on the start, that's great, and you're pushing through. And in the middle of the race as well, if you're side by side with somebody, you're really just bashing it through, and you're squeezing out everything you've got in you. You know, you're squeezing out the last bit of push in your muscles, and you sit there and your muscles are saying to you, I can't go on, and you're saying, bloody well are. You know, you're really pushing hard. But at the end of it, say you've lost, yes, you do feel really cheesed off. You do feel really fed up. If you win, you feel really elated.
We're very lucky because the area that we row in, and the club that we row in, is very sort of broad-minded. It accepts anyone, and they don't worry whether you're male or female. It's just how hard you work and how much you're prepared to put into the sport. But there are a lot of places, a lot of rowing clubs that still actually ban women, which is diabolical, you know, it's just horrendous.
I've learned a lot about myself and about how you can push yourself when you think you can't anymore, and also about self-discipline. And that, I think, is the most important thing, perhaps, that I've got out of it.